In 1968, George Pal spent millions on a science fiction film that made nothing. Here are 20 sci-fi movies that failed but became cult classics. Smash subscribe, hit like. Crazy movie history. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, 1964. Nicholas Webster directed Santa Claus Conquers the Martians in 1964. The kids on set wore heavy winter coats in 90-degree heat. The story followed Martians kidnapping Santa Claus. The crew shot inside a sweltering airplane hangar in California. The child actors cried real tears from the heat. The alien masks looked totally crazy. The robot was a painted cardboard box. John Call played Santa. He sweated right through his red suit. The producers ran out of money fast. They could not afford real special effects. The studio dumped it into empty theaters. Audiences absolutely hated it. It lost a ton of cash. The movie vanished for years. Then television stations played it on loop. Mystery Science Theater 3000 found it later. Now people watch it every Christmas. Fans still talk about the pure insane chaos of the production today. The wild mistakes make them laugh out loud. The crazy costumes broke their brains. That crazy fire was nothing compared to the next alien invasion. In the year 2889, 1969, Larry Buchanan directed In the Year 2889 in 1967. One actor fell asleep during his own death scene, and nobody stopped filming. The crazy story followed survivors hiding from mutants. The script stole completely from a Roger Corman movie. The disgusting makeup was raw ground beef. The mutant suits smelled absolutely awful. The actors held their breath to fake dying. The director yelled at people constantly. The crew worked in a freezing warehouse. Paul Peterson starred in the lead role. He looked totally bored the whole time. It bombed in rural theaters immediately. Nobody really cared about it at all. The studio lost every single dollar. It sat in a dusty vault for years. Late-night television saved it from total doom. Fans loved the pure crazy incompetence. People still talk about the gross makeup today. The wild acting shocks new viewers. The cheap sets make them laugh out loud. That awful cheap set was nothing compared to the next crash. The Creeping Terror, 1964. Art Nelson directed The Creeping Terror in 1964. The monster was literally a shag carpet that the actors had to physically drag themselves into. The story followed a giant alien eating people. Nelson lost the sound for the whole movie. He hired a narrator to talk over everything. You never hear the real actors speak. The creature moved at 1 mile an hour. People just stood there waiting to be eaten. The production shoot was total absolute chaos. Nelson fired camera people every single day. The angry crew hated working for him. Theaters refused to show it at first. It died immediately in empty cinemas. It lost all the investment cash fast. The movie disappeared completely for years. Then college students revived it at midnight shows. People still talk about the sheer stupidity today. The insane creature design blows their minds. The crazy wild narration makes them laugh hard. That crazy wild carpet was nothing compared to the next beast. The Projected Man, 1966. Ian Curtius directed The Projected Man in 1966. The crew wiring the electric sets accidentally blew up the film camera and kept shooting. The crazy story followed a scientist turning into a weird monster. It was a total rip-off of The Fly. Bryant Halliday played the mutant. He wore a thick rubber mask that melted his real skin. The hot stage lighting caught fire twice on set. The fire burned a terrified crew member. The angry studio fired Ian Curtius before the final edit. The movie went straight to the bottom of the bill. It vanished from lonely cinemas in just days. It made absolutely zero profit at all. The angry investors lost everything. It sat forgotten for decades. Nobody wanted to release it ever. Then Mystery Science Theater mocked it. People still talk about the wild gore today. The crazy lighting shocks everyone. The shocking mask makes them cringe. That shocking mask was nothing compared to the next zap. Astro Zombies, 1968. Ted Michaels directed Astro Zombies in 1968. The killer robot mask was built out of a plastic children's toy mask covered in tape. The crazy story followed evil aliens creating wild robot killers. Michaels shot the whole cheap movie in his own dirty garage. The old film kept breaking inside the hot camera. The famous John Carradine starred in it. The old man forgot his lines constantly. The tired crew fed him his words from far off camera. The cruel distributors laughed Ted Michaels out of the room. It played in one totally empty theater for a week. It made zero profit at all. The terrible movie lost every single cent. It sat on a dusty shelf. Nobody wanted to ever buy it. Hungry VHS collectors found it in the 80s. People still talk about the crazy ambition today. The wild acting shocks new fans. The insane effects make them laugh hard. That insane effect was nothing compared to the next ship. Nightcaller from Outer Space, 1966. John Gilling directed Nightcaller from Outer Space in 1965. The alien invader literally wore a rubber gorilla mask topped with a bowling ball. The wild story followed brave scientists tracking a deadly alien killer. The cheap film crew shot it in black and white to save cash. The script made 0 cents at all. The very famous John Saxon starred in it. The tired actors looked genuinely embarrassed on set. The poor lighting guy kept casting huge dark shadows. The angry studio cut 30 whole minutes out. The weird movie played as a cheap second feature. It made absolutely nothing at the real box office. It faded into total dark obscurity fast. Nobody ever remembered it for years. Crazy cult fans dug it up decades later. People still talk about the weird alien design today. The crazy-looking mask shocks them completely. The wild, crazy plot makes them laugh. That crazy, insane plot was nothing compared to the next Birds. Queen of Blood, 1966. Curtis Harrington directed Queen of Blood in 1966. The producers bought cheap Russian science fiction movie footage and glued it into this movie to save money. The crazy story followed brave astronauts bringing back a green alien woman. The famous Roger Corman produced it. The alien woman wore green grease paint constantly. The sticky green makeup smeared on everything on the set. The sets were old leftover props from other movies. John Saxon starred in it again. The poor man looked totally confused by the script. The gross fake blood was just bright red ketchup. It played in empty double features and died fast. It lost all of its cash quickly. It faded into dark obscurity. Nobody ever remembered it for years. Fans found it on late-night television. People still talk about the crazy mismatched footage today. The wild crazy gore shocks new fans. The wild insane alien makes them smile. That insane alien was nothing compared to the next crash. Robinson Crusoe on Mars, 1964. Byron Haskin directed Robinson Crusoe on Mars in 1964. The monkey wearing the spacesuit literally escaped the set and ran into the Hollywood Hills. The crazy wild story followed 4 very brave astronauts stranded on cold Mars. The tired film crew chased the scared monkey for hours. The huge movie cost a whole lot of money to make. The heavy spacesuits looked totally great on camera. The fake red rocks were just painted foam pieces. The brave Paul Mantis starred in it. He had to act totally alone mostly. He literally talked to a small rock for days. Bored families ignored it in empty theaters completely. It lost a giant ton of cash fast. The angry studio took a big, huge financial loss. It became super famous on television reruns years later. People still talk about the crazy survival story today. The crazy wild monkey makes them laugh. The crazy insane effects shock new fans. That one insane effect was nothing compared to the next mission. The Phantom Planet, 1961. William Marshall directed The Phantom Planet in 1961. The tiny aliens were actually just children wearing bald caps to save money on little people. The crazy wild story followed an astronaut shrinking on a tiny planet. The cheap fake rocket ship wobbled on a thin string. The tired actors read their lines off dirty cue cards. The famous Francis Dex Bushman starred in it. The tired old man looked bored out of his mind. The cheap movie studio sat on it for years. It finally came out, and it totally, completely tanked. It made absolutely 0 money at the box office. Nobody ever really remembered it for years. Late television kept it breathing for years. The wild late-night slots saved it. Crazy fans love the silly effects today. People still talk about the crazy shrinking plot today. The crazy wild sets shock everyone. The wild, insane aliens make them laugh. That weird, insane alien was nothing compared to the next rocks. The Deadly Bees, 1966. Freddie Francis directed The Deadly Bees in 1966. The killer bees on screen were literally just flies glued to strings because real bees were too dangerous. The crazy story followed a tired singer hiding on a cold island. The cheap film crew painted the dead flies bright yellow. The confused actors swatted at nothing constantly. The very famous Susanna Lee starred in it. The poor tired woman looked totally confused by the script. The loud buzzing music drove people crazy. The angry movie studio rushed it out very fast. It stung the box office completely. It made no money at all. It vanished completely into the dark for years. Nobody ever really remembered it. The band Muse wrote a song about it. That crazy song brought it back to life. People still talk about the crazy flies today. The wild, crazy acting shocks new fans. The totally insane effect makes them laugh out loud. That weird, insane effect was nothing compared to the next terror. The Earth Dies Screaming, 1965. Terence Fisher directed The Earth Dies Screaming in 1965. The killer robots were literally built out of old refrigerator parts and vacuum cleaner tubes. The crazy story followed human survivors hiding from slow killer robots. The tired film crew shot it in a cold, empty English village. The cheap, broken fog machine kept breaking constantly on the set. The brave Willard Parker starred in it. The bored actors just walked around looking completely bored. The metal slow robots moved incredibly slow. The weird movie played the bottom of cheap double bills. It made absolutely no noise at all. It lost all of its money fast. Nobody really cared about it. It completely vanished into the dark for years. Crazy horror fans tracked down rare old prints years later. People still talk about the creepy atmosphere today. The wild, crazy robots shock new viewers completely. The totally insane fog makes them smile big. That insane fog was nothing compared to the next flop. Invasion of the Star Creatures, 1962. Bruno Vasoda directed Invasion of the Star Creatures in 1962. The two evil alien women literally just wore shiny bathing suits and high heels. The crazy story followed dumb soldiers fighting evil alien women. The weird space comedy fell totally flat. The cheap movie props looked like cheap plastic toys. Bob Ball played the soldier. The poor man tripped over his own feet constantly. The tired film crew laughed at him daily. The angry movie studio buried it very fast. It never ever made any of its money back at all. It disappeared completely into the dark for years. Nobody ever remembered it. Crazy comedy nerds found it on old VHS tapes. Many crazy people love the pure slapstick energy now. Hungry cult fans adore the silly mistakes. People still talk about the crazy costumes today. The wild, crazy, silly acting shocks everyone completely. The totally insane props make them smile big. That one weird, insane prop was nothing compared to the next trip. The Wizard of Mars, 1965. David L. Hewitt directed The Wizard of Mars in 1965. The entire surface of Mars was literally just a dry cow pasture that the crew painted red. The crazy wild story followed 4 very brave astronauts stranded on cold Mars. The heavy spacesuits leaked cold water constantly on set. The heavy metal camera fell right over twice. The famous John Carradine appeared in it. The tired old man filmed all his scenes in one afternoon. The poor guy read his lines off a wooden board. The angry movie studio sat on the movie for years. It bombed when it finally came out. It made absolutely zero real cash. Nobody ever really remembered it now. Crazy cult fans love the weird wizard ending. People still talk about the crazy cheap sets today. The wild fake cow pasture shocks everyone completely. The totally wild insane ending makes them laugh out loud. That one crazy insane ending was nothing compared to the next crack. The Navy vs. the Night Monsters, 1966. Michael Hoey directed The Navy vs. the Night Monsters in 1966. Mamie Van Doren literally wore a real bandage because an airplane propeller sliced her leg on set. The crazy wild story followed brave sailors fighting killer trees on a cold island. The tired film crew shot it in a freezing cold dark swamp. The cheap movie rubber trees looked totally completely fake. The very bored actors slipped in the mud constantly. The angry movie studio cut 30 whole minutes out. The weird cheap movie played as a cheap second feature. It made absolutely nothing at the real empty box office. It faded completely into total dark obscurity fast. Nobody ever really remembered it for many years. Crazy hungry cult fans dug it up decades later. Many people still talk about the weird bandage today. The wild crazy monsters shock them completely. The totally crazy trees make them laugh out loud. That one crazy insane tree was nothing compared to the next trip. Journey to the Far Side of the Sun, 1969. Robert Parrish directed Journey to the Far Side of the Sun in 1969. The studio forced the filmmakers to add a twist ending where the Earth was literally a mirror image. The crazy wild story followed brave astronauts visiting a hidden strange planet. Jerry Anderson produced it. The tiny detailed miniatures looked absolutely incredible on screen. The real live action was totally boring to watch. The very famous Roy Thinnes starred in it. The poor tired man looked completely lost. The huge big movie cost a giant massive amount of money to make. It tanked incredibly hard at the real empty box office. It lost a giant massive fortune for the studio. It vanished completely into the dark for years. Nobody ever really remembered it. Wild, crazy Supermarionation fans found it later on tape. People still talk about the weird twist today. The wild, crazy miniatures shock everyone completely. The totally wild, insane ending makes them talk a lot. That one weird, insane ending was nothing compared to the next trip. The Terranauts, 1967. Montgomery Tully directed The Terranauts in 1967. The heroes literally got kidnapped by aliens in a budget spaceship made of cardboard boxes. The crazy wild story followed smart scientists abducted by mean, ugly aliens. The tired film crew built the whole giant ship in 2 days. The fake heavy computers were just painted cheap wood. The very famous Simon Oates starred in it. The bored, tired actors yelled loudly over loud fans. The loud noise was totally insane. The weird, cheap movie played as a cheap double filler. Nobody really ever watched it at all. It made absolutely zero real profit money. It disappeared completely into the dark vault for years. Nobody ever really remembered it. Crazy, hungry, vintage science fiction fans adore it now. People still talk about the crazy fast pace today. The wild, crazy, cheap set shocks everyone completely. The totally wild, insane ship makes them laugh out loud. That one weird, insane ship was nothing compared to the final flop. The Power, 1968. Byron Haskin directed The Power in 1968. The centrifuge chair literally spun so fast that it made the camera operator pass out. The totally crazy wild story followed a very brave man hunting a deadly psychic killer. The tired and scared crew had to quickly drag the poor cameraman out. The very famous actor George Hamilton starred in it right away. The poor guy looked totally, completely, and very dizzy. The cheap practical special effects were just crazy wild spinning camera angles. The angry movie studio dumped it quickly into totally empty cold theaters fast. It vanished completely and instantly from the big screen. It made absolutely zero real profit money at all. Nobody ever really remembered it for many years. It faded completely away into total, very dark obscurity. Crazy, hungry science fiction nerds praise the paranoid vibe today. Many people still talk about the crazy spinning chair today. The wild, crazy spinning camera tricks still work perfectly. The totally wild, insane speed shocks everyone completely. The wild spinning tricks worked, and the crazy flop lived forever. Which crazy flop is your favorite? Comment below. Smash subscribe for wild movie history. Goodbye!